The last hour, we introduced you to the Koreshans, a religious cult who lived on the land that's now Koreshan State Park in Estero. New at 6, explosive new details are coming to light that directly link the Koreshans to the Branch Davidians cult near Waco, Texas.
And 30 years ago this year, that devastating FBI siege at the Branch Davidian Texas compound ended with cult members dying for their own beliefs in their leader. But would all of that happen if they knew their ideology was stolen from the Koreshans?
So I had been frustrated for years.
FGCU professor Lynn Milner has always thought the Koreshans in Estero had to be connected in some way to the Branch Davidians in Waco, Texas.
And many of the people at the park had been frustrated for years that here were the Koreshans of Estero.
Two religious groups led by two men. The Koreshans followed Cyrus Teed. The Branch Davidians, David Koresh.
Both believed they were the modern day incarnation of Cyrus, the king of Persia, and that they had been sent to free people from Babylon. And Babylon stood for government or for any force that they perceived as evil.
And this is probably how you know about the Branch Davidian cult near Waco, Texas. 30 years ago, the FBI raided their compound. Inside, 130 of David Koresh's followers, and they refused to leave.
There's a man standing in the room with an AK-47, and I shot him several times.
Through this 51-day standoff, 75 people were killed, including children and FBI agents. But Milner believes more lives could have been saved if Branch Davidian followers knew that their ideology was taken from the Koreshans.
Especially had the leaders, I think it's most likely that his right-hand man would have been the first. And when a leader leaves, it's more likely that there'll be a domino effect.
Milner partnered with Jeff Gwynn, who wrote a new book about the Waco standoff, and together they made this discovery.
The whole thing was a surprise to me, I have to tell you.
Gwynn came across an old, small book written by followers of Cyrus Teed, the leader of the Koreshans, about their beliefs.
He was the Lamb of the book of Revelation. He was going to open the seven seals of the great book, and he was going to bring about this final clash between the true followers of Christ and Babylon, the American government, to usher in the new kingdom of God after Armageddon. That struck me as fascinating because this is the exact same thing David Koresh is proclaiming almost a century later in Waco.
Both Gwynn and Milner believe it is possible the early leader of the Branch Davidians picked up that book in a Waco library and modeled his beliefs after the Koreshans and Cyrus Teed in Estero, then passed those beliefs to David Koresh and the Branch Davidians. The group was preparing for the end of days, and they were told they had to fight through this siege in Waco in the way the book of Revelation said they had to. But if the Branch Davidians knew that their beliefs were stolen from someone else, would they have left the compound before the building burst into flames and killed them?
This book makes it so obvious that David Koresh wasn't original. No, some of them certainly would have stayed with him, believing in him no matter what. But surely at least a few of them would have said, no, wait a minute, this calls everything into doubt.
So now both authors you heard from believe this new revelation trickles down to even our lives today, saying if we can look at the facts with the whole accurate story behind historical events, we can make better decisions and move forward as a nation.